So we got one game in the books out of six, and no overtime showing its ugly head yet. And I like overtime, but in this instance, with how these games are set up, overtime would be just a nightmare. Logistically, try to put everything together because overtimes don't have commercial breaks, and there's a lot of other reasons. So the fact that it pushes back all the other games. So the Islanders today played a very entertaining game. And if you had told me before this game started, you'd said, Shannon, game two is going to be very entertaining, my response would have been, so Florida's going to win then. Because usually if the Islanders win a game, it's usually one of those slow, plodding kind of games. Not today. Today, this was a pretty entertaining game. And remember, game three is tomorrow. So there's not a lot of turnaround. And this is why the back-to-backs are really dangerous. So Green replacing Boychuk was the news before this game, in that Boychuk, of course, was out, looked concussed. They're not going to tell us for sure it's a concussion, but looked concussed on the play. The Islanders, right out of the gate, did their best to stifle the play and make sure there's no room for Florida. Stop me if you've heard this before. Basically, the Islanders make sure they clog up the center ice. They make sure that you're going to get shots. You'll get them from the periphery. You're not going to get them from in close. And if Varlamov can see it, he stops it. So this is a formula, rinse and repeat, that the Islanders play. The Panthers' penalty kill kept the Islanders at bay after Matheson takes a 4-minute high sticking. And it was a pretty wild swing by Matheson. Reckless, 4 minutes. And, of course, Matheson made headlines in Game 1 by being the one that injured Boychuk on a play where some people felt it required at least some kind of look from NHL's player safety, and nothing came out of it. So, Sevier then gets a shorthanded break, and that actually draws a penalty on the New York Islanders, which means a 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 6 seconds. Bobrovsky denied Barzal, and then at the other end, Hoffman scores from Huberdeau and Yandel at 11:16. Now, it's not technically a power play goal. It happened after that power play ended, and after Bobrovsky made a really nice save on Matthew Barzal, a player who, once he figures things out at the NHL level, should be able to score 90 points minimum in a season, I would think. Now, the Cizikas line playing a really strong game, and right out of the gate, a lot of focus on the Cizikas line, the energy line, the crash line. You can call it whatever you want. The fact is, this is a line that works. And they play more than your standard fourth line, to the point where I kind of say, you know what, it's kind of the third line, because anytime you need a shutdown, that's the line you're going to put out there. And when you need a change of pace after a goal, that's the line that they go out there with. Barry Trotz has total faith in that line, and they would reward him for that faith during this game. Great saves by Bobrovsky when the Islanders were pushing. Matheson takes his 6th penalty minute of the game with his second penalty. The first one was a 4. This one's a 2. The Islanders get a late power play. Beauvillier hits the post, and then Varlamov makes some big saves late. Those are key. So it's 1-0 Florida going into the second. And I thought, well, maybe Florida's going to come through and win this then. But it's going to be another low-scoring affair. Second period, early pressure for the Islanders. And the Panthers were having a hard time putting more than one pass at a time together. 2 or more passes, good luck. The Islanders were making sure those passing lanes weren't there. There was no separation between the Panthers and the Islanders. And then we get Martin gets a goal from Kuhnhackl and Green. It was a bad turnover that led to the goal. It was pressure by the Islanders led to that goal. And at 6 minutes and 12 seconds, it's tied. Varlamov then denied Barkov. There's a penalty on Nelson. The Panthers go to the power play. On said power play, Florida strikes. It's Barkov from Yandel and Hoffman at 7:54, and with that power play goal on a perfect screen from Huberdeau, there's no way Varlamov knew where that puck was. If he can see it, he'll stop it. Make sure he can't see it. Pretty simple formula. And get out of the way before the shot comes through, or else it's going to hit you. So Huberdeau did all of that, and Barkov restores the lead. It's 2-1 for the Panthers. Now, they almost got caught with too many men on the ice. And once again, with no fans in attendance, this is something that players are pretty good at regulating. And I know there's been a lot of penalties called for too many men on the ice, but there's also been plenty of instances where we've seen players yelling, off, don't touch it, don't touch it. And where normally you'd have the fans in attendance to maybe drown some of that out, they clearly hear it and they back off. But yeah, and then there's a good chance for Cizikas. The Panthers take a penalty that's on Hoffman, and on the resulting power play, it is the Islanders' turn to get a power play goal. It's Pulock from Taves and Brassard at 13:48. That ties the game up, and it went through Bobrovsky. It was a shot from the point, and they looked and they said, "Oh, did it deflect?" And it didn't. That's the kind of goal that you can't have for $10 million. That's the kind of goal that needs to be stopped by Bobrovsky. He needs to make sure that doesn't go in. So it's a tie game, and then the Islanders just start throwing everything at the net. This idea of, you know what, that went in, just throw everything at him. Just keep throwing everything at him. And with that in mind, Eberle throws a shot at the net, which went off Pesik's stick in front of the net and in. So Eberle gets the goal from Pulock and Barzal, so that's 2 points for Pulock, a goal and an assist. And at 16:27, the Islanders get their first lead of the game and score 3 goals in the second period against a Florida team that, remember, needed to win today to keep their hopes alive for going into the round of 16. Nelson takes a penalty. The Panthers get a power play with 1:42 left, and Hoffman hits the post during that power play. There's a scrum with 40 seconds left as Huberdeau takes a penalty to make it 4-4, and Brian Boyle did his best. He did his best to try to draw some Islander into a penalty so that maybe they get a man advantage back out of it, and it just wasn't happening. Famously, and if you haven't seen it, Pajot kind of moves on like make him flinch, and then kind of laughs and backs away like, no. Because Pajot is about a foot shorter. Well, it's 8 inches shorter, but still. Or 10 inches shorter. It's a large height difference between Boyle and Pajot. So Pajot kind of snickers and skates away like I'm not fighting Boyle, which is probably for the best for Jean-Gabriel Pajot. So we go to the third period with the Islanders in the lead. Now the Panthers needed a strong start. And then Stralman hooks Barzal, and the Islanders end up with back-to-back power plays. So much for that fast start that was needed for the Panthers, that big pushback. Varlamov was solid as the Panthers pushed for the tie, but they were not the better team in the third period. When they desperately needed to be the better team in the third period, they weren't. Barzal gets shaken up after a Bobrovsky save. He seemed okay. The spotter didn't take him out, though, which I thought, I guess, for the player to go, I'm fine. I guess we're accepting that again. It seems to depend on the time of year and the game and the situation, but that's okay. That's fine. Weegar then was guilty of a slash that sent the Islanders back to the power play. So some undisciplined play by the Panthers, maybe frustrated play by the Panthers, and Eberle scores on the power play from Beauvillier and Bailey at 10:29. That makes it 4-2. 2-goal lead with less than 10 minutes left in the third. There is no way that a Barry Trotz coach team is going to cough up that lead. The Islanders in total control, and the Panthers are going to be in the lottery for Lafreniere. And that's just reality. We know the Panthers and the Rangers, because once out of 57 times have we seen a team down 2-0 in a 5-game series and come back to win it. So for Florida, this has been a rough go. Solid play from all 4 lines for the Islanders. And really, I can't say enough good things about how Trotz has had his team ready. They look to be in playoff form, and Florida just doesn't. And the goaltender gets pulled with 2 minutes left, but there was no flow for the Panthers. So even though there's no empty net goal for the Islanders, Panthers weren't really putting much together either. And when they did, Varlamov could see it, and the Islanders kept the Panthers out to the outer limits of the offensive zone when they did get in there. There was nothing to the inside. Nothing. Just block them out, trap them out, and don't give them any daylight. And there wasn't any. So the Islanders win 4-2. Varlamov finishes up with 24 saves on 26 shots after having 27 saves on 28 shots in Game 1. Bobrovsky had a very good Game 1, 26 saves on 28 shots, saved 30 out of 34 today. 13 shots to 8 in favor of the Islanders in the first. 11-10 Florida in the second, and then in the third, the Islanders take it with an 11-7 shot advantage and overall 34-26. Power plays. Florida goes 1 for 3. The Islanders got 7 power plays and scored twice. And for hits, Florida out-hit the Islanders 43-30. Again, when your team has the puck, most of the time you're probably not going to get as many hits. And the Islanders definitely had a puck control game going on today. Very entertaining game. And this is why I think some of these teams that are doing the play-in round, it's going to be hard not to pick them all. I'm really debating about this, about once we get to round one and we get to the previews for round one, just saying, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and go out on a limb and just pick all the teams that just went through the play-in round, because these guys are doing the playoff hockey and the round robin. These teams have more days off in between. The games aren't quite as intense. And so there's a difference. There's a total difference. Like, there's two different hockey seasons going on at the same time. And right now the Islanders look pretty darn good. Let me know your thoughts regarding this game in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.